Good day. My name is Sinethemba Makanya. I'm a healer. I'm also a doctoral fellow at the Wits Institute of Social and Economic Research. I'm doing my PhD in, or rather, I'm completing my PhD in medical humanities and psychology. I'd firstly like to begin by thanking the uMsunduzi Museum for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to briefly reflect on one of my most favorite subjects, which is indigenous knowledge. Thank you so much. I will be doing this over a 3-part lecture series. This lecture is in memory of Umkhulu Vusamazulu Credo Mutwa. Sitindawuwe, siyathokoza, amaku, isandla phezu kwesinye. Umkhulu Vusamazulu Credo Mutwa passed away in March this year. He was a great healer, he was a prophet, he was an artist, he was a storyteller, he was an author. The most famous book is this one, Indaba My Children, and as you can see, it's well worn and fully read. In it, there are stories, creation myths. Mkhulu speaks more of African deities. Mkhulu really makes us understand that Africans had a way of knowing before colonization, and he really wanted to preserve and bring awareness to this way of knowing because he felt that it was important to assert the humanity of Abantu outside of the rhetoric that Black people or Africans were lower than the Europeans who came to colonize. So if you can, please do get yourself a copy of this book. Please do follow the Credo Mutwa Foundation on Facebook for a lot of his videos. They will also be having events in memory of Umkhulu Credo Mutwa. Obviously, I can't pay tribute to such a great man in a 5-minute video. I also wrote an article where you can get links to some of the things that I'm speaking about, such as the videos that I'm talking about, links to his cultural villages where you can view his artworks and sculptures, most of which were prophetic, or they still are prophetic. This article is in The Conversation, and it's an obituary to Umkhulu Credo. So if you're interested, please do check that out to find out more about the life of this great man. Umkhulu, as I said before, his greatest mission and his greatest passion was to preserve the humanity of Abantu and to assert the humanity of Abantu, while also asserting that there are other ways of thinking about knowledge other than ways of Western cosmology. As I explained before, that Umkhulu speaks a lot about our deities, our cosmological point of view as Africans, in order to remind Umuntu what Umuntu is. In my own research, I go into this and I call this the African cosmological view of reality. It's important for me to go into this view. So just to mention, my research is called Ukugula Kwabantu, where I'm looking at the constructions of mental health by traditional healers. So as I mentioned before, the African cosmological view of reality rarely gives a view of the African paradigmatic worldview in order to look at issues like the construction of the human, the construction of health and disease, the initiation of traditional healers, how traditional healers work through a lens that is from Africa, as opposed to importing theories from outside of Africa. My research is really about viewing African knowledge through a lens of African knowledge. And this African cosmological view of reality teaches us that in African ways of knowing, we believe that reality is both material and immaterial. In the immaterial realm, we have our creator beings. Umkhulu Credo wrote a lot about Umvelinqange, Umnumkhubulwane, and other deities, some of which reside in certain places of nature or are in charge of different seasons of the year, etc., etc. And then we have our ancestral spirits, who are really, your great-grandfather, your great-great-grandfather, your bloodline ancestors. And then the human is in the material world, and obviously a human needs to be able to link to the spiritual while also being in the world. And so it speaks to the fact that a human is both a spiritual as well as a physiological being. But then we also see the human in relationship to his to plants and animals. So there's also an ecological relationship. And so Umkhulu really encouraged, particularly me, to think of the human in a holistic way when I think about how health is constructed in relation to the human, because the human, unlike biomedicine teaches us, the human isn't just the flesh. So it's not only the flesh of the human that can get sick. The human is also a soul, a human is also a spirit. And when we speak about health and disease, we speak about health across the social, we speak about health in the physiological, in the flesh, we speak about health of the psycho-spiritual, we speak about health of the soul, of the spirit, and whether the human is balanced across these different faculties. This will become important in the next lecture, where I'll be speaking about traditional medicine and how it can help with COVID-19. So please do join me. Thank you.